Alright, let's talk about Peterson now. So, look, I know that many don't see him as the literal answer to our falling society, but many do. The title is somewhat provocative, yet also agreeable to some extent for many people, actually. And he's an accomplished professor and a psychologist and was blasted into the wider political and social commentary sphere thanks to that one video that started it all. Who also became the Channel 4 News interview, which launched him even further into the political world and a wider audience. And many other videos that you can just quickly search on YouTube. Interviews, lectures, and all that good stuff, right? So, this video is for conservatives who identify conservatism as limited government, low taxes, and low regulations, and social equality, for men and women, and who want legal immigration and all that stuff, So the typical talking points, right? And to further clarify, conservatives who would still vote for, who are more so on the side with DeSantis and Trump, and don't consider themselves, and not farther than that, okay? So this video is to explain to you all why conservatives like myself and others who are considered farther right, the term dissident right. So people like with the America First movement under Nick Fuentes and Ye, and people who are strong, staunch nationalists, who are the people that probably you conservatives might consider us Nazis, all right? So that's, this video is for you guys, all right? And we want to a lot of it's for you guys, okay? And let's just say also it's for people who are just simply want to know why there are some conservatives that just do not like Jordan Peterson. And I'm gonna kind of do my best to explain, to speak for everyone I just mentioned, but that, of course, not completely. Alright, so just to kind of sum it up, alright? So why do we not see Jordan Peterson as someone who would help to preserve American traditional values and the West in general? So that's really the issue there. Alright, that's really the issue that we're going to be talking about. Like, Jordan Peterson, he's a great person, but as someone that conservatives should always look up to, well, he's not the one to really help American traditional American values, and let's say Canadian values, since he's Canadian, all right, or just basically the West in general. He's not really our guy for that, and I'm gonna explain why. First, let me quickly explain what we, who are considered far right, dissident right, paleo cons, traditionalists, what have you, are for and what we want. So what are the values that we want? What are we for? So look, we're for preserving the family. The family is a husband and wife united under holy matrimony and are willing to bear and rear children. Traditional values such as gender roles for both sexes, men are masculine, women are feminine. Preserving the demographics of the country, those demographics being people of European stock. That's the important part. Especially those people whose ancestors go way back to Plymouth Rock or even Jamestown, So like really far, like we want to preserve the European stock, the European demographics of America and Western society in general. Those people are the ones who actually help to build the Western values, to build America. In my case, America. In our case, America. But in all cases of Western society, Western civilization, it's people of European stock, of European ancestry, of European blood and genetics. Alright? Of European thought, philosophy. Those people help to build this country, and that's the values that we want. And we're not just against illegal immigration. This is a really important distinction here. We're not just against illegal immigration, just like how any conservative would be typically, but also constant immigration in general. If we want to preserve the original European stock of the US and let's say other societies of the West, other countries of the West, then we need to limit immigration immensely. We need to really limit legal immigration. All right, we can't just keep accepting people, changing our demographics, illegal or legal. Like we can't preserve the values of the people. A country is not just a nation with political borders, it's its people. How are values created? How are values made? Well, it's through concrete beings, human beings, the beings, in this case, who would help best to preserve the Western values, who created Western values, where Western values are rooted in. It's people of European stock. And one of those countries, one of those nations is of the United States. Furthermore, no encouragement of homosexual behavior, so much freedom that it will lead to hedonism and leaving people to their own devices. None of that. I'll respect your pronoun as long as you don't make the government force me to do so. No. No LGBT stuff, no transgender stuff. We don't want any of that stuff. Preferably, many of us would prefer if also races and ethnicities would encourage to spend more time with one another, each their own. Okay, so we don't want any of that homo, gay stuff. We don't want none of that. Many conservatives are pushing that. We don't want any of that. And at the same time, we encourage people we know that America, at least in America, the US, consists of many groups of people. We encourage people to really stick with their own. Alright, it's not, and look, it's not by force or anything. There's a debate, argument within some other farther right people, but look, we want to encourage people to stick with their own races, with their own ethnicities too. All right, so like that's what we want, and not like in any hateful way. It's just to preserve what God created. We don't want the mixing to be forced or to be pushed upon us. We want people to really appreciate where they come from. All right, and look, and most of all, look at this. It's all putting God first. As in putting Christianity first. When we say God, we mean Christianity. Many people who first settled into this land did so to spread the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. Many, like myself, preferably, would want a Catholic-run society. I'm Catholic. Many of us in the America First Movement are Catholic, but it's another debate for another day. But we want a society run by one within the lens of Christianity. All right, so Christianity first and foremost, and that's what we want. We don't want any of this big tent stuff. We don't want none of that big tent stuff. We want a Christian society. So yeah, look, we want to preserve traditional family values. We want to preserve the European stock. We encourage people to really appreciate their roots, their ethnicities, where they come from. We don't want any of that homosexual, gay, LGBT stuff. We want traditional gender roles. All under God, all under through the lens of Christianity. All right. So look, now let's see what Jordan B. Peterson has to say on the matter. Let's see his worldview. Look at this. Peterson on Twitter posted an email exchange he had with Steve Kovach. Some context here. Kovach wrote a piece against Peterson accusing him of being far right. Here's what he said. I said very clearly, you mischaracterized me as far right. On what grounds whatsoever can you make that claim? And having made it, it is your responsibility to either justify the characterization with some investigation or to withdraw it and apologize. Politically, I am a classic British liberal. Temperamentally, I am high in openness, which tilts me to the left, although I'm also conscientious, which tilts me to the right. Philosophically, I am an individualist, not a collectivist, of the right or the left. Metaphysically, I am an American pragmatist who has been strongly influenced by the psychoanalytic and clinical thinking of Freud, Jung, and the psychotherapists who have followed in their wake. There is simply nothing I have said or done that makes me far right. Quite the contrary. I have warned thousands of students over the course of 3 decades that the spirit of the Auschwitz concentration camp guard dwells in their hearts, and that they should do everything in their power to recognize its existence and overcome it. Every single lecture of my Maps of Meaning course, various versions of which have now been watched or listened to by millions of people, makes some variant of that point. I have also produced a series of individual self-development programs now used by thousands of people to strengthen themselves as individuals, determine their proper and honorable destinies, and live productive, meaningful lives. You didn't do your homework. You cast a serious aspersion on my character. I don't deserve it in the least. I want you to do something about it. J.B. Peterson. Alright, let's break this down. Look at this. He calls himself a British liberal. A British liberal is not conservative. He says that, he tilts left and right and yada yada yada. Philosophically, he's an individualist, not a collectivist of the right or the left. Metaphysically, he's an American pragmatist, alright? And then he uses psychoanalytics of Freud and Jung. None of that is Christian. We don't care about all the deep down sexual desires Freud has for family members. Jung, I even forgot what he was famous for, like with the id and all that. I don't care, okay? And I'm not even trying to sound really dumb brain about it. I am, but it's just like, this is not Christian. American pragmatist? What's even that? No. And look, the individual idea and the collectivist idea, we've been past that as conservatives, as paleocons, traditionalists, and any other people in the far right. We don't care about this idea of individualism, collectivism. We want to preserve the people, families. We want Christianity. We don't want any of this stuff. Individualist. If you're an individualist, then look, your basic modern, your post, or I forgot what's the term, postmodernism. I think like ideas will always lead to modernism. Like if you're a true individualist, that's what led to people saying, "Hey, I'm a man. I was born a man, but I want to be a woman, and the individual is most important. So you should call me a woman, even though I'm a man." Alright. So it's that type of thinking, that type of individual. How important is the individual? How important is the individual compared to the collective as a whole? It's these stupid dialectics. It's what ruined the West in the first place. Alright? Like, look, I'm not that well read on this stuff, but I know enough to know that all of this is all pointless in the end. It's just for professors and other well thought out thinkers to sniff their own farts. We don't want this stuff. None of this, right? And then the idea of him using Auschwitz and that. Heck, he says that the spirit of Auschwitz concentration camp guard the spirit of the Auschwitz concentration camp guard dwells in their hearts. Talking about the students, and that they have to overcome it. Are you kidding me? This is just becoming so crazy. Look, we don't want our values to be about the Holocaust and how evil Hitler is. We want our values to be and remain Christian and traditional and all that through the lens of Christianity. All right, we are a Christian nation. It's sad what had happened to the Jews in World War II. All right, it's sad what happened to them, but that was decades ago, and now it has become our country's moral barometer instead of the teachings of Jesus Christ. We don't care about that stuff anymore. It's really weird how much admiration Peterson has for the Jewish people in Israel. So much so that he made videos critiquing Christians, the Christian churches, and Muslims, yet no critiques to the Jews. Come on, that's really interesting, isn't it? It's really interesting. He has so much admiration for them, it's insane. And one of our biggest critiques that people get mad at us about, and by people I mean also conservatives, is the critique of Jewish power. And look, if we're gonna keep having if we're not going to be able to talk about Jewish power, and Peterson, excuse me, seems to be highly against that. He's not going to be wanting to preserve the West. He doesn't care about race, ethnicity, people. He's not for that stuff. And he's just like with any other conservative who always uses the Holocaust and anti-Semitism to dictate his moral values. Look, let me show you something. Here's a video where he states that the whole world depends on Israel. As we, America First conservatives, believe, our world is dependent on our salvation with Christ first and foremost. Our world is built around and through Christianity, through Jesus Christ. We don't care about being called Nazis. We don't care about that stuff. Look, dude starts crying, by the way.
As Jews in Israel, are you telling the greatest story ever told? Well, you decide that by how you live. And that decision will affect the world, because everyone looks here for one reason or another. It's not so easy to understand. Everyone looks here to see, well, how are you actually doing under this tremendous assault of adversarial criticism as this little tiny people in the middle of no man's land, in some real sense, as a, what would you say, cardinal model of the nation state and the city on the hill. You have a tremendous moral responsibility, like you have perhaps for your entire history, for reasons that are very difficult to understand. And I think it is true in some real sense that the fate of the world depends on the decisions of the people of Israel, just as the fate of the world depends on the decision of every individual. So you make yourself a shining light on the hill, right? You attract people here because of what you're capable of doing. You show the world what the holy city could look like, because we need it. We need it, and it's up to you to do it. Thank you very much.
He also cried getting called rabbi by a Jewish person. I can't make this stuff up, man.
You know, when people meet me on the street, they'll say things like, I met a couple of Orthodox Jews in New York, and they said to me on the street that they call me rabbi, which was it's a hell of a thing to hear, you know.
It's just getting ridiculous now. Look, conservatives like myself are not afraid to point out the Jewish power and influence that a lot of our institutions have. Peterson seems to be highly against that. If we don't address the Jewish influence soon, we won't ever fix our country. And we're not calling for violence or the harm of individuals, but these issues need to be addressed. We don't want Israel to influence America, but Americans themselves. So on top of Peterson being a liberal, which he critiques modernism, but the postmodernism will always lead to modernism, because if the individual is the most important, then in that case, if the individual is the most important person, then if that man identifies as a freaking whale, you need to address him as such, because the individual is the most important. No, the most important is preserving our values, is to have values that are based in the Bible, based in Christianity, preserving family and all of that. It's not about the individual. We don't care about what Freud says about family or Jung. No. We don't want that. Okay, that's good for like a psychology class, but to look up to him to help preserve the Western values, the marketplace of ideas. Yeah, well, the marketplace of ideas has a monopoly, and it's going towards the left. All right, we don't want any of that stuff. None of it. None. Here's something to think about. The left will always see us as racist, bigots, homophobes, and especially Nazis. Peterson, like most other conservatives and classical liberals, will do whatever they can to prove that they're not evil. We don't have time for that. Or they're gonna always prove like, hey, we're all individuals, everyone all matters, egalitarianism, da 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 da. No. Look. What I'm saying doesn't take away all the good he has done to help people from all ages to better themselves, to know themselves more, or just become all-around decent human beings. I just hope you have a better idea now why conservatives of the America First movement under Nick Fuentes and Ye and other far-right dissidents, traditionalists, I even forgot, monarchists, yeah, definitely even monarchist people, whatever, anybody that's farther right than DeSantis and Trump. You know, that's why we don't take Peterson seriously, okay? That's why. That's what I really want you guys at least to get. Peterson has done a lot of good, but just philosophically, conservatives looking up to him to help preserve Western values and ideas, nah. His lot helped lead us to where we're at now with all these issues that the left is causing. There have been many others who have made much more in-depth work than I, critiquing Peterson. You've come this far to the video already, so which I thank you greatly. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching till the end. Alright? But try watching other videos critiquing Peterson and see what you think. Okay? There's people from the left and right and center, left, right, and center, who have done videos on critiquing Peterson's philosophies, how he is, his philosophies and whatever. So, people on all spectrums of on all political spectrums, people have made videos critiquing Peterson. So, it's not just like a bias on the left type of thing only, or on my case on the right type of thing. No, it's all sides have critiqued Peterson, which I'm sure you know. So I just hope you'll be more open to kind of also see from their perspective too, and why they just don't see him as really viable even for their side, as in like their side. People on the left, people in the center, whoever, what have you, Alright, so yeah, thanks for sticking to the end. Christ is King. Alright, Christ is King all the way. Hashtag Christ is King. Spread that on Twitter, please. So look, I'll leave with this clip that had been circling around the dissident right, the sphere of the dissident right, all throughout like Telegram, Gab, Twitter, whatever. If you're on the dissident right, you probably have seen this video here. Alright? We do not believe Peterson will help to conserve what Western civilization had lost. And let me show you. Peterson, Dennis Prager, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro, Steve Bannon, none of these people, Sebastian Gorka, all these conservatives, all these major conservatives, Trump, these people, they won't help to bring back what Western civilization had lost. And I'll leave you on this clip right here. Thanks for watching again. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram. Just type in BetaFish. You know the logo. You know my picture already.
See